Hey everybody, this is Mike, and you're watching the Reelblack podcast. And today we've got some very special guests, and we're going to talk about some very special topics. The fear of a black film critic crew, Vashawn Quinones and Fullee
Love Mike.
Love. Let's give it up for them.
Woo!
We love them.
So
Yes, sir.
well, before we jump into it, tell people. I'm gonna plug my merch.
Right.
This is vintage.
Good.
It's not for sale, but we got hats and hoodies. It's getting cold out there. It's really cold out there. You want to make sure that you go to shop.reelblack.com to get
Absolutely.
yourself some Real Black gear. But
Mhm.
Vashawn has been a pop-in guest on some of our live streams. This is the first time we formalized it. We got a great topic. But for those who don't know, tell folks about Fear of a Black Film Critic.
Well, it's a podcast. Me and my brother Fully Love, who's located at the bottom there. We do a podcast where we just review movies, black movies in particular. We interview filmmakers, actors, anybody we can get on the show. Good people like yourself, Mike D.
Is that I just got side I just got invited, folks.
Shameless plug. Yeah.
Okay.
Shameless,
All right.
shameless
Well,
plug. Oh yeah.
Reciprocation is invaluable. Okay.
Yeah,
No problem.
yeah.
Anytime you want.
So basically, man, Fully Love and I, we get on the phone and chat about movies all the time, man. And he has been like, Sean, man, you need to do a podcast. I said, you gonna do one with me? He's like, man, I'm with it. So here we are today. I finally got off my ass and did one.
Okay.
Few now.
Right. And you can catch them on what, YouTube and Spotify or something like
No,
that?
actually, man, we were doing YouTube, not anymore. All of our stuff is strictly audio. So you can just find us on Spotify. You go to Anchor FM. You can follow me on Sean Q IG, or you can go to our Fear of a Black Film Critic IG page too. So I have two pages.
Okay. So, but if you don't have Spotify, are you on any of the other podcast platforms that are free?
Nah, that's it, man. I
So
I haven't got
you
my
can
ass and
listen
did the
to Spotify.
iTunes. Yeah, yeah, but
You
we
just have
getting
to
there.
suffer through the ads. Well, Spotify, for folks who don't know, Spotify is free. You just have to suffer
Right.
through the ads. So
Right,
just go to Spotify, load that app into your phone right now,
right.
and then search for Fear of a Black Film Critic, and you'll see the whole lineup.
Right. Yes,
So
sir.
we're here today because I've been getting messages all week. Did you hear the news? Did you hear the news? And I'm like, what? Right. And they're like, Cooley High is coming to the Criterion Collection. I was like, yes, right on. Finally, it's about time,
Right.
And then I looked at the special features that are coming on, and I was like, oh shit, I could do better. Are there any brothers working over there? So we're the brothers that would be working over there if we
Right.
could. If they were hiring,
Yeah.
we would make stuff like the Cooley High. And you see, I got the poster behind me, or behind me on this side.
Right.
The Cooley High. I may be an unfair critic. I might be a player hater in some respects, but to me, Cooley High should be like a 3-disc Blu-ray special edition.
Right.
Not just with the crap that they're putting out for Christmas this year. The best thing about it is the cover, in my opinion, from what I can tell from the special features and the 4K transfer.
Right.
But so that led us down the rabbit hole of having a conversation offline with Vashawn about Criterion and how, give them credit. They got called out in 2020 for being racist, but for only having, at the time, they only had 4 Black directors represented out of 1,000 films, plus 1,000 plus films in their collection, and they've done a lot to correct that, and they put a lot of great cinema out on Criterion since then. But there's still room for improvement with everybody. So we're here to talk about Criterion, what it means to us, what it is exactly for those who don't know, and then we're going to pick out our favorites that we recommend that you go out and cop whenever the time comes. So for those who don't know, Vashawn, can you explain what Criterion is? Or
best way I can explain it, it is almost like a seal of approval for filmmakers. They do restorations, what behind the scenes stuff, deleted scenes, audio commentaries. It's the champagne of Blu-rays and DVDs for film collectors. You know what I mean? You get probably more bang for the buck when you buy Criterion stuff as opposed to the studios releasing their movies. It's basically if you're a film buff and you're a collector, you go to Criterion.
It's basically
grade
film
A.
school. It's a film school without
Right.
having to go to film school. What they do,
Right.
they pull. You know, a lot of people look at what they've done since 1984 as putting the canon
Right.
of cinema out for home audiences and making it accessible and putting lots of special features and things like they were the first to put things in the proper aspect ratio when it was Laserdisc. They had audio commentary tracks that were stellar from the beginning. You know, the scholars telling people about the films and all that other stuff, you know. So, you know, and so, but they've recently gone into putting movies out more so once a month. You will get a black film now. Right. So we're here to talk about that. But Fullee, I mean, what's your experience with Criterion?
Well, I actually like it. I've signed in. I have an account. I actually pay for the subscribe to the channel.
Okay,
so
they have a streaming platform.
Yes, they do. And I love it. And what you kind of piggybacking on what you guys were talking about, it's like they give you the anniversary Blu-ray immediately. They don't give you the regular and then a couple of years down the line and then charge you a whole nother $700 for it. They give it to you right away, which I do love about it, because it's like once I get something from there, it's like if something else come out, I already feel I have it, so I don't have to redo it. The channel was dope for a couple of reasons, because you get to see some movies that I didn't know existed or was hard to find and able to see it, and to also what you said, Mike, is about them correcting a lot of the stuff that was said about it, the criticism. Like if you go on the channel now, they have their own, the black section. They just showed 3 the Hard Way, Dolomite. So I was just sitting back like, even though I've seen them 1,000 times, it was just good to see it again. So I dig what they're doing. It's one step at a time, and I'm not mad at the steps they're taking.
Yeah. I mean, they really got called out. It was a New York Times article that basically said, "Is Criterion racist?" Right. And the chairman of the company, Peter Becker, it's a privately held company, immediately said, "Look, it's a blind spot I have. I will do everything I can to correct it." And he's been to his word. He's put out a lot of great stuff. As I mentioned, Cooley High is coming out in December. We also got Malcolm X coming in November from Spike Lee, the Spike Lee Malcolm X, which is sort of it's a 4K transfer, I believe, but it has a lot of the extras, including the original documentary that was only available in the anniversary edition that Warner's put out before. Right. For those who don't know, there's a documentary from 1972 narrated by I want to say James Earl Jones, that it's going to be packaged along with Malcolm X in November, and then Eve's Bayou is coming out in October as we speak. It'll be so those are available for pre-order. The most recent release as we speak is Buck and the Preacher, right? Which
need that. Definitely need that.
It's a great film. If I was producing this, I would have done a better job. That's all I'll say. I'm not giving away my secrets, but I know there's better stuff than what Criterion did with it. But to their credit, it is a Blu-ray. It's never been on Blu-ray before. So
right. Now let me just say this. Keep in mind, the films that they pick. Some movies may not have, box office success, but they've had critical acclaim. We're talking about good auteur type movies. Don't expect Fat Beach to be on Criterion.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, Fat Beach ain't gonna be on there.
Part 3.
They ain't gonna be on there. No. So not every black movie is gonna be on there. It's just the pick of the litter. You dig what I'm saying? It's the ones that move the needle in the culture, as I say.
If Reelblack had a video label, Fat Beach would be on there, and we'd have Jermaine Huggy.
Much respect to Charlie Hopkins and Brian Hook,
and a location scout.
Like
what was that, Baby Daddy?
So there's room. There's plenty of room for a Reelblack video label if people want to see it.
Right. That's what Tubi is for. You put it on, Tubi. Tubi continued. But go ahead.
So I've been into Criterion for a long time.
Right.
And then when I started getting some money, I really got into Criterion, you know. So
Right.
you know, let's before we get into our top picks,
Right.
I know that we've got some things from our collection that we can talk about a little bit
Okay.
in terms of your lasers and all that.
Okay.
Like, so I guess fully just to keep it rotating. How did you first become acquainted with Criterion titles?
Well, I was back in the day, Suncoast. I know you guys remember Suncoast.
Of course.
Yeah. That was my, my place I used to go. And then after the VH, it's only so long you can play VHS. So when Blu-rays came out, I was like, I'm going to transfer all my movies to Blu-ray. And some were kind of hard to find. And then I started just going online and seeing who I could buy videos for, hard to find videos for. Happened to run into Criterion, and I was like, oh, I dig this. I was like, I think it's cool. I was like, this price is hell of a tough. I was like, the price ain't no joke, but I was just like, I dig what they doing. And so that's how I actually ran through it. I probably was in Diabolic. This is a Blu-ray thing called Diabolic, and somehow I got to Criterion, and that's how I found out about
That's a good point that you make. There's never and there will never be a VHS copy of a Criterion movie. Because what they started when the Laserdisc format came out, they took advantage of the fact that it was pristine quality and that you could have multiple audio tracks that people could select to be able to have audio tracks, audio commentary tracks, as well as the original film audio playing. So that was one of the key components. So that's why we say it's like film school in a can. Because you could literally listen to the director scene by scene talk about the making of the film as you were watching it. So that was the advent of Criterion. And then, as we know, when DVD came into play, that became a more commonplace feature because when the DVD market opened up, all the studios basically emulated Criterion. So, I didn't buy. I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll show off my lasers. That's how deep, because I don't want to come off as a player hater, but I do have some criticism of what Criterion does. But I'm a loyalist first and foremost. I believe in the stuff. My first exposure to Criterion was when I was working at Virgin Megastore in Los Angeles way back in the day, and all the filmmakers, all the people with money would come in and stock up, the John Singletons, the Quentin Tarantinos of the world, all the Hughes brothers, anybody, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Michael Jackson, they would all come in and cop Laserdiscs, because Laserdiscs were the state of the art back in the 90s, and they typically were out of the price range of the average person, Right. So there was also some cachet to having a decent film collection and have Criterions on Laserdisc. So, but of course, like everything, things come and go. So I was able to, when Laserdisc started to wean, there were like a lot of closeouts and things like that. So I was not the person that was paying $100 for these things. Let me make it clear. But I do honor and cherish my Criterions. So, well, maybe you should go first, because I don't want to crush you that easily.
Wait a minute. I didn't know this was a damn competition. But
I will crush you.
I mean,
it's show and tell. That's all. What's the story behind your stuff?
Well, first of all, let me talk about my first Criterion movie that I bought and how I heard about it. Hate him or love him, Quentin Tarantino, right? Like, he will always have to reference these movies that he's borrowing from or inspired by. It was a movie by Jules Dassin. It was a heist movie, and it had like the heist sequence that was all silent for like 30 minutes. I can't think of the name of Rififi. Right. That was the first movie that I bought from Criterion, and let someone use it. They jacked it up. Right. But that was my first experience with Criterion. I'm like, damn, this shit is like $30-something to buy this thing. So I knew that my Criterion purchasing was not going to be a lot, especially $30-$40 a wop. It was just like, oh man, I catch it when it's on sale or used. But that was my first one. And then I would start to notice later certain Michael Bay movies were getting released on Criterion, and I was like, I bought The Rock. That was probably my second movie
This is on laser or on DVD?
on DVD,
Blu-ray?
two
Two
disc
disc DVD. That's
DVD, right? But that's my short story on Criterion. But the Criterion laser disc that I have, that I had to pay a lot of money for, and I know Michael is going to crush me because I've seen it already. He is Dead Presidents, the Hughes brothers Vietnam heist movie, which is
That's a keeper.
It is a keeper, and it's going nowhere. As you can see, it has all the little supplements right here. It has the behind the scenes. It has, let's see, a new digital transfer, theatrical trailers, which I wanted. Has commentary by Hughes brothers. Lisa Rensler and Dr. Todd Boyd, who I feel should be on these Blu-rays, but say that for later.
Okay.
And Lorenz Tate, Keith David, and it has a music video by Isaac Hayes, Walk On By, which is directed by Alan and Albert Hughes. And Dr. Todd Boyd's Guide to Blaxploitation. So this is a must if you can find it. I know it's going to be probably pricey. I paid, I'm not going to say, but it was a nice chunk of change. But I'm glad to have it in my collection.
Well, no, that's more than likely it's never going to be reissued by Criterion because it's a Disney title. I think, as you mentioned before, they put out some Michael Bay movies, but there's a handful of things that they license from Disney, and they're more than likely not going to be able to relicense them again for Blu-ray releases. So that's stellar right there, Vashawn.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, and I have it too.
Right.
I have it too.
Yeah. Well, here comes the crushing.
I will destroy you. Mine just happens to be signed by Alan,
right?
And only and he left space on the other side for Albert. Okay. Should I ever have a chance to meet him, I would love the opportunity for him to sign it. But so that's one of my Criterion lasers, and we're just talking about the black theme titles tonight, folks. Another one that they put out that they recently reissued. This was a bare bones title. Oh no, it had an audio commentary on it. Sweet Sweetback, and Mr. Van Peebles signed it for me, thankfully.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Absolutely. Great, and fully deserving of getting the Criterion treatment. Sweet Sweetback, without question. So it took a long time for them to re-release that one. This probably is the most reissued black film on Criterion. Do the Right Thing. It's been on DVD, Laserdisc, and Blu-ray.
4K.
Now, they don't have it on 4K yet. There's a 4K bare bones out, but it wouldn't surprise me if they eventually put it out on 4K.
Well, they did.
Oh, it is a 4K?
Yes, 2 discs in here. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, my bad. You got me on that.
New 4K digital restoration. Yep, approved by cinematographer Ernest Dickerson.
Okay, my bad. Mine is still sealed, so I haven't even cracked it.
And by the way, got mine signed by Spike, but okay. I'm pretty sure you do too.
I'm just here going back and forth like, what you got? What you got? What you got?
I'll beat you though. Hang on.
I know you do.
Hang on. I got to quit.
Right. He okay, yeah, I got that too.
Okay. Is it signed though?
Yes, signed. No, it's actually is not. It's unfortunate. Okay. It's
Well, don't be jealous. Anybody with enough coin can go to Spike's joint website and order signed copies of Spike Lee's Bamboozled.
However, if we talk about this thing signed, I do have that Spike book signed.
Oh, the Spike book,
right
and
there
it was signed
in
person. Yeah,
in person. Yeah. So there's that.
All right. So this is My Boys in the Hood. This has not come back out from Criterion yet. So that's prize. And John Singleton signed it for me before he passed. So
rest in peace.
And there's a video of him signing it on YouTube. So it's authenticated.
Okay.
It's authentic.
Oh,
it's not some eBay. It's some Mike D.
And yes, I got mine on video with Spike.
Okay. That's called authentication.
Yes.
All right, Menace.
Okay. Menace classic.
And we can talk about Menace and and not everything that's on the Laserdisc traveled over to the Blu-ray, so it's or the 4K. So it's important if you have these the Laserdisc not to discard it.
Right.
So those are my lasers. Oh, and then the classic Criterion, very rare sealed copy. You know,
Okay.
we're talking about black films on Laserdisc. You know, this is one of the premier black
Yeah.
films on Laserdisc.
Now, did you
Wonder
get
what
that
that was.
sign too?
Right.
Oh, is it signed?
Yeah, did you
You
get
know,
a sign?
I got other video to authenticate this. But
Really?
anyway, that's
Okay. Okay. We're not talking Heather Hunter, fam.
I mean, it may be.
huh?
Hey, I mean, you know, you never know.
I ain't mad at you. Whatever works.
Right.
Okay, so we talk about that. The collectors. Okay, so the price point for Criterion typically for Blu-ray is $40 retail, but I would never pay more than $22 for a Criterion Blu-ray because typically twice a year they go on sale on BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com for 50% off, and also twice a year Criterion has a 24-hour flash sale where everything's half price. Now, you know, and what's great about Criterion, it never loses its value. Now, like you said, the only time people sell off their Criterions to the used market is if they're in a cash crunch or if the title's been reissued in a better format, right? So typically, like if you see Criterions and they're below the price of like say $17, it's because somebody needs to get some quick money or the movie's coming back out through Criterion again. So don't be too scared. You can definitely build your collection now. It's coming really fast. Like I said, they're putting out roughly one movie a month now that's black themed. So if you're gonna get into the game, into the market of doing it, it's really for the love of it. It's not. I mean, and also I should say that when a Criterion DVD goes out of print, the price skyrockets for some reason. You know, so you're never going to see it go down in value. You may have a difficult time reselling anything that's physical media nowadays, but if it does go out of print and you happen to have a copy, people will clamor for it. They may pay up to $100 for something that's out of print Criterion, sometimes more.
Right. I know. Dead presidents.
Touche.
I wanted it, man. It was like the DVD really doesn't offer anything, just the movie, right?
Right.
And subtitles. That's it. But when I found out, because I didn't know that Dead Presidents was Criterion. When someone told me that, I'm like, really? And so I thought it was like equivalent like Bigfoot. It was like people have seen it, but oh man, I've seen it. I got pictures. I'm like, really? Let me see it. So I searched online and I found one, and it was on eBay. And it had all the deleted scenes, the music videos, the trailer, everything. I said, oh man. So I put my bid in and lost by seconds. Someone outbid me and got it. And then,
wow.
Yeah. And then I went to Amazon and someone had it for like, I forget had $100 for it. So I'm like, yeah, I want it. I want it. Yeah.
Well, it was $100 when it came out, or maybe even more, maybe 115 when it first came out, because it's a double.
Right.
But so I'll quote in the words of the great John Kennedy Terrell. I'm sorry, my brother, you got to buy your own. This goes in a casket with me. I'm sorry.
No, okay.
I'm being cremated, so you better burn that along with me, because I don't want anybody else to have it.
Got a bomb attached to your heart. Everything goes with it. Boom. Just so.
I need to put in my will. No, you're not selling that one after me. You do whatever you want to. Right. Do what you want with that Cooley High poster, but you're burying me with that Alan Hughes sign. But anyway, so what are we doing? Top 5, top 3? What are your favorite Criterions, and who wants to go first?
Fullee, you want to take the floor, man?
Yeah. Well, I'll take it. Now I know we're doing black, but my honorable mention is Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, you mother! That's the one I don't have, and I refuse to pay $80 for it.
I just didn't have a chance to get it. But Rosemary Baby is my honorable mention. But I'm gonna go with Learning Tree, the Learning Tree. Gordon Parks Sr. My father hit me to this movie back when I was younger, and then I had a chance. I was looking for it. Then I had a chance to find it on DVD, so I got it, and I was just like, man, I was like, this is cool. But when I started transferring all my DVDs from to Blu-ray, I was just like, man, I said, this will never probably come out. I was like, this will never probably. Then I just happened to be strolling on the Criterion and was like, coming soon. So I hurried up and jumped at that. So that's my one. Let's
slow down. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it for a second. So when Learning Tree first came out on DVD, it was a made on demand DVD. It wasn't even, it was like a blue disc. Like that's something when you have a disc. I can show what this is. On the back, if it's blue, that means it was recorded one at a time. It wasn't replicated.
Right. Okay.
And that's what they did. That's what Warner's did with The Learning Tree, which is a classic by all means. They treated it like a stepchild. So it was great when Learning Tree came out on Blu-ray from Criterion, because it has all kinds of behind the scenes stuff on, a documentary about the making of it, conversation between Hank Willis Thomas and Deborah Willis about the influence of Gordon Parks, 3 short documentaries featuring Gordon Parks, and some printed stuff in the booklet. Now, the one thing that they don't have that disappointed me, quite frankly, and it could be because of other situations involving the man, but the man on the cover, you know who this is, right?
Yeah, that's his mom just passed, matter of fact.
Yeah, Kyle Johnson. So
the lead actor, you mean?
Nichelle, Kyle, he's still living, and they didn't for whatever reason they weren't able to get him to be included on like the making of or commentary track or anything like that.
Right.
So that's a big disappointment, because what does it take, a phone call or two to convince somebody to be a part of history? That would have put this over the top and made it an A++ for me. But I agree with you, it's a solid one.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was just saying his mother just passed, because if I'm not mistaken, his mother is
Nichelle Nichols.
Yeah, from Star Trek.
Star Trek is
Truck Turner.
Truck Turner.
Truck Turner.
Yeah,
I mean, so the Criterion. Too late, Criterion. You should have jumped on that Truck Turner.
She was cold in that Truck Turner.
Dude.
I didn't know she sat down. She was sitting down for years. So I didn't know. When I seen her Truck Turner, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's just me, Mike. That's just me.
She was a dancer.
And trust me.
Dude.
You ain't gonna get. Now I'm gonna throw this one. My next one is, I love this movie, Claudine.
Okay.
I love this movie. Another movie that I get overexcited when I don't think, or I think that it'll be hard to ever see it on Blu-ray. When I seen that the Criterion was actually doing it, I was just like, sometime the $40, that's like buying movies is like the strip club for me. I'll make it rain. I'll make it rain sometime. Yeah, so most likely than not. But Claudine is my second one, because I just love the movie, man. That movie still resonates.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. Without question.
Yeah. So
it makes me cry every time I see it. For those who don't know, can you explain the plot of Claudine?
Well, it's about a mother of what did she have, like 5? About a mother of 5, a single mother, living on welfare, and it was about trying to make it, dealing with the circumstances, get with a garbage man, and at that time, those times, a garbage man was considered a good job. Mm-hmm. Garbage man was,
unless you were in Memphis, of course.
But anyway, I don't know.
A whole nother story.
But and it was about her finding love, and it's actually pretty deep because it's about a we get a lot of flack as black men about not caring about children, our children in particular. So it was really nice to see a movie about a man who was, he was going through his struggles, but he was accepting of her, just do with love, and then. And that's I don't want to get too long-winded on it, but yeah, and it was about them trying to make it out of the circumstances that they would have living off of welfare with her, man losing his job or getting his money, I should say, garnished, and this is about them making it, and how he became their father, even though they was pressing against it. He at the end he became their father. So in the sense.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Well, it's spine number. They put the numbers on them on the spine, 1052, and it's one of the first ones that they put out after the New York Times article. So, and they put out during the pandemic. So I agree. This was a disappointment for me. This is one of the disappointments for me with Criterion, because it could have been so much more on it. Now, it says on the back that it was done from a 4K restoration, which means that there's a chance that it'll be reissued again. And I would urge unequivocally, what they did, they put it out a little too late. Diane Carroll had passed away, 3 years ago or something like that. So, so there's an audio commentary from the original DVD, which you could buy at Walmart for $5. So they reused the commentary track with Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones, and then they put some stuff with Robert Townsend on here. But if you're into special features, I'm like, where is the special feature about Curtis Mayfield's music?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The music is so important, and Curtis Mayfield was such a dominant force in terms of soundtracks of the 70s. There's almost a no-brainer to do a 10-minute, 15-minute piece about the importance of Curtis Mayfield. Yeah. Criterion, you dropped the ball on that. Right. So I can only give this one like a B- at best until the 4K happens.
I think at that point they was just trying to get something out black.
That's what happened, I'm sure. Because
it's like, man, we got to hurry up.
Right. It's like Curtis Mayfield's not signing off.
Yeah, right. So they heard. I'm pretty sure they hear you, Mike, but they was just like, nah, man, y'all was on our neck too tough. We just had to get something out with some brothers in it. And
let's get Robert Townsend on the Zoom. He lived in
anything black, black car, black licorice.
Robert Townsend is part of the Fullee High because shit.
Right. He was in it.
He was part of Fullee High,
Right.
And my last one. This is just when I seen and me and Vashawn talked about this. When I seen the cover, I just had to.
Here we go.
Shaft. I just that cover is it was just so cold, and I was just like, man, I gotta get it. And Vashawn was like, oh man, listen, they got this, they got that, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna get it regardless. They could have, it could be blank, but I was like, I'm gonna get it regardless. And that's my third one, Shaft. You got to have Shaft in the collection. Yes, sir. You got to. You got to.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Turn my sound down. Let's hold up our shafts so we can get the screen cap.
Yes. Boom. My.
Still, or you keep the hype sticker.
Yeah, I put it on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you.
That is it.
Yeah, Shaft is. The transfer is beautiful.
It's man.
There's so much I want to say, but I'm gonna hold off to my turn.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
jump on in, man.
Yeah. No, I mean it. For all of Claudine's faults, right? I'm talking about the Blu-ray itself. Shaft makes up for it because you get not one but 3 discs, 4K. You get a behind-the-scenes special with Isaac Hayes and the music. You get David Walker, my man, debunking the myth that Shaft was a white character turned black due to Sweetback's Badass Song, because he shows up the first edition. You get Shaft's big score. You also get, I believe, Walter Mosley on this, if I'm not mistaken. Talking about the importance of Black heroes. I mean, it's a great disc. I mean, you can even open it up and like stuff like this. I enjoy it, man. I mean, this is what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
You know, you can put this on a shirt. This part here, if you can see it, you can just, where is it? Right there. You know, I mean, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, I don't want to hate on spine number 1130.
Okay.
And I agree, this is an A release, especially in 4K. It looks beautiful in 4K.
Right.
And I'm not sure what the reasoning was. Maybe they didn't want to take it to a fourth disc.
Right.
But you know where I'm going with this. Where's Shaft in Africa?
Yeah.
You know, I can't sell off my. I have the 3-disc set that Warner put out of the Shaft, Big Score, and Shaft in Africa Blu-ray. I can't sell it and get rid of it because it's the only place I can get Shaft in Africa on Blu-ray. So that'd be my critique, and I'm sure they had. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that there was conversation about should we go to an extra disc to make it a complete Shaft thing or keep the price point down. Already, when you go to 4K, these things are like $50 plus retail, you know, so I get it. And the packaging's beautiful and all that stuff, you know. And there is the vintage in Blu-ray, the vintage documentary Shaft on Location that everybody's seen, or a lot of people have seen, with Isaac Hayes and Gordon Parks collaborating on how the score was composed. So it's a winner. A. I'm not going to give it an A plus, but definitely worth $50 or $25 if you get it on sale. Absolutely.
Because see, I was wondering about the Big Score. And this is just me thinking. I was like, you know, they put out Shaft, incredible. The hype that was on Shaft, Big Score, incredible. I was just wondering, did it was like, we talked about Shaft and Shaft's Big Score. Do we really need? It's almost like Poltergeist 3. It's just kind of party 3. You kind of be like, you know, should we? And I get it, but that's just me. My weird thinking was like,
you feel like it's jumping the shark.
Warner MGM,
like, whatever.
MGM owns the rights, so you know it must have been a cost factor because I mean it's not like Penitentiary and Penitentiary 2 and 3, where Penitentiary 3 is out of print because Canon Films owns it, and Warner and the other two are Xenon, you know. So,
but let me say this real quick. In Shaft in Africa's defense, it's probably inferior to the other two films. Yeah. But what I liked about it is that you taking the character out of Harlem. He's now globetrotting. He's other places, and I kind of feel like this is where the other Shaft movies, or if they plan to make any more, Harlem is cool.
Oh, please don't.
But I know, but I have a strange feeling. Let's be real. They might do another. But let's
keep Kenya Barris out of my name.
Right. No. Right.
Out of my mouth.
Right. But have the character move a bit because he did in the books. I mean, he went to Jamaica. He went to other places, London. True. So have him globetrotting. Just don't keep him just in America all the time. That's it. That's the only thing I would say.
No, you point out a perfect. This is the crux, the spine, of this whole conversation. When you talk about Shaft and its remakes, you have to ask the question: should white folks be in charge of deciding what we need when it comes to this kind of stuff? In my opinion, typically when it's the a white company, it's the white power structure determining these things. We either get something we never asked for, or we get it too late. You know, in my opinion, Claudine should have been out 10 years ago. You know, they should have been making Cooley High Blu-rays with extra features. Olive dropped the ball on that.
Quite a few times.
There should be no need for Criterion to be doing anything but a 4K reissue, because 10 years ago or 8 years ago, when Cooley High first hit Blu-ray, was the opportune time to get all those guys. I mean, the same time that Cooley High was coming out bare bones, which means no special features whatsoever. I don't even think it has a trailer on it. Michael Schultz was literally busy recording the audio commentary track for Scavenger Hunt. So I'm thinking to myself, and I haven't spoken to Mr. Schultz about this. It's like, how how little did they offer, or did they even bother to call you at all when it was time to put out Cooley High on Blu-ray? That would have been, you know, a windfall. Whatever money they would have spent to do special features, they would have made back instantly on a Cooley High, in my opinion.
Right.
So you know, should white folks be in charge of making the decisions about these things? When you make Shaft as a remake, all right, that's cool. John Singleton did one with Sam Jackson, but this most recent one, which they pulled the special feature from 2019 that you talk about with David Walker,
David Walker. Mm-hmm.
that was tied into the publicity of that film.
Right.
I mean, they made him into a beta male, you know, and it was almost a comedy, damn near, you know. It just took away from everything.
Well, the son, yeah, not so much Samuel Jackson.
True.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like
the commentary I had no problem with. Maybe I just didn't like the wall-to-wall comedy, and I thought some of the bits were kind of sitcom-y.
I mean, that's when it jumps the shark, right?
Yeah. When you start bringing kids into movies, heroes, like I don't want to see James Bond with a son, even though he has one. Right. I don't want to see Indiana Jones with a son, you know. Right. And now, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but you know, now they're talking about Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop 4 has a daughter. So it's like when you start bringing the children in, you're like, but you know, it is what it is.
I got you.
Yeah.
What you got? What are your tops? Oh, you got something else? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's it.
No. Go ahead.
Oh man, I'm okay. I can feel it. Deep cover.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
I love
4K.
That cover, matter of fact.
Yes, love this cover too. At first I was like, yeah, but now I love it. I love that purple and
that purple kids.
The bunny falling down.
Yeah, man.
This is my personal favorite movie out of Bill Duke's filmography. Rachel Harlan probably be second. But the reason why I love this movie, the one word that comes to mind is style. Bojan Bazelli worked on this movie, who also shot King of New York. So this movie feels like a continuation of King of New York, or in Abel Ferrara movie just set in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite films of the Larry Fishburne era, not Lawrence Fishburne era, you know, because when you get Lawrence, he got a little too Shakespearean for me in his acting. You know, this one was a little more Iceberg Slim, Donald Goines cool right here. You have Jeff Goldblum that kind of breaks against type, plays a good bad guy. You have what's my man? Julio playing a bad guy. You have a wonderful score, by Michelle. I'm not going to pronounce the gentleman's name, but you know who he is. Dr. Dre, iconic score. Yeah,
Just give me the lady. Come on, man, don't do that to me.
Oh yeah, no. And of course, Betty. What's my sister's name? But right now, I can't forget. I have it right here. What's her name, man? Help me out, Fullee.
I wasn't trying to break it into your game.
Hold on, I know. Hold on. I'm trying to figure. I'm trying. Now you got me thinking about what's her name. God, I can't.
My eyesight's not that good.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah,
I want to get it right. Hold up.
Okay. Well, I'll hold mine up while you're doing it.
Okay.
So for those, all right. For those who are just tuning in, we're talking about Criterion, Black films on Criterion.
They don't even have her name in the credits. That's sad. But this is a wonderful crime noir, neo-noir. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. You know, it's a thinking man's action movie.
It's come on, be real. It's Black Donnie Brasco.
Stop it. Even though it's based, even though it's based on Mike Levine's book, Donnie Deep Cover, and it's also supposed to be a sequel to Andy Garcia's movie, Internal Affairs. But I mean, Lawrence Fishburne just bleeds cool in this. Everyone's cool. Style is number one in this movie. You dig what I'm saying? The 4K just makes this movie look beautiful.
I've got no complaints. The only thing there must be a I know you have two, right, Fullee?
Yes.
But you know, I think the only note that I would have is there's no audio commentary track. I mean, there's an interview with Bill Duke, but there's no audio commentary, and I love listening to audio commentaries when I have the time. So that would be my only note. But otherwise, this is stellar. This is at the level that Criterion needs to continue to put things out, and hopefully they will continue the relationship with New Line and Warner Brothers to bring us some more Black movies, because you know Warner Brothers was killing it with the Black themed films in the 90s.
Victoria, help me out. Is it Victoria? So I gotta know now. This is gonna kill me.
Oh, you're stuck?
I'm stuck. I can't, because I just talked about her not too long ago. I just talked about her.
Okay. I can feel it.
Yeah, I can't feel it right now.
Okay.
Let's see.
Victoria Dillard.
That's it. Victoria.
Okay.
Dillard.
That's what you're talking about. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
But I watched
Very
it.
beautiful.
The print is gorgeous. You know,
Yes.
it's a 4K transfer.
Yes.
And the grain, you know, like they, you know, when they do these things nowadays, they can dial up the amount of grain to put in the transfer, whether it's like 0 or some. They put just the exact right amount of grit in the 4K transfer to make you feel like you're in the movie theater, but you're watching. It's just I didn't know they could preserve film that well.
Right.
You know, whoever did the coloring, the transfer on this is wonderful.
Now I do have a complaint, just one little small complaint. Yes, you definitely need an audio commentary on this.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have loved to have, I know this might be petty, but Dr. Dre's video need to be on this.
Oh, yeah.
And quite frankly, Oliver Wayne giving commentary on hip hop, didn't need him.
Right.
Didn't need him.
Okay.
You know, you need someone from the culture talking about Deep Cover and that song. And, you know, so all in all, it's worth it.
Yeah, we'll go back, because I know you're a scholar, and this is an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this is our audition tape, Criterion, you weak ass motherfuckers, you need to step your game up. Vashawn Quinones, give us 3 minutes on and how important. Take us back in the time, paint the picture why that Deep Cover video is so important, and that song, how it introduced the world to G-Funk.
Well, before we got into G-Funk, Dre was like, because I kind of feel like G-Funk came a little bit later. Dre was still in his after NWA stages where he's sampling them breaks, right? And he's leaving Ruthless. He's going on his own. And he's on Solar, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So guess what? I'm gonna hand this one over to someone who used to work on Solar. No, I'm joking. But no,
that was good.
I mean, this is like Dre's introduction outside of NWA.
Wait, hang on. Pass it off to him, because you've got this, right?
Yes.
Who, me?
Fully. Yeah,
yes,
you got
sir.
it. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so do one of these things with the screen where you actually literally hand it off to him. Like,
okay, here you go.
Like I'm gonna take my copy.
Okay, ready?
All right, you gotta hide yours. Wait, I'm gonna hand mine to you.
Okay,
and then you take yours and you hand it to Fullee.
Okay.
All right, so wait, I gotta figure out the direction. Screen direction goes.
Okay, go ahead.
That way. All right, so I gotta go. Here you go, Vashawn.
All right, thank you. Right, so I have it right here. Thank you. And so now I'm going to hand it off to Fullee. Boom. Got it?
Thank
there
you,
it is.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Where do you go around the planet to get? You supposed to be like, hey,
right.
I got this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Just to piggyback off of Vashawn. The importance of that is because, for one, like you said, Vashawn, he was just leaving NWA, and people knew how great he was as a producer, but it was still it was kind of like when Ice Cube left. It was some doubts. It was just like, how can you achieve? Or you own a mountain, so what can you possibly do? You know, and so he came out with that. Death Row was supposed to be Death Row Solar originally, but then you know, when the man come with the money, you know, sometimes we do a lot of switching. Iveen come with the money, you know, but it was important too because of that, and that kicked off the whole Death Row era, which was massive, and it brought us one of the greatest hip-hop artists in Snoop, and you knew immediately that this cat was going to be a force to be reckoned with. So yeah, It was sample. It was a dope sample. Everything about it was it coincided with the movie. Well, it was so dope. They even put it at the end of the movie.
Right.
When I was I seen it at the drive-in, and I remember watching Deep Cover at the drive-in, and then that video coming on, and I was just like, bro. I mean, I'm sitting at the theater, and everybody in there in their car is bugging at this song, yo. So it's incredible. And shout out to Dick Griffin.
For those who
rest in peace.
For those who don't know, it's 187 on the Undercover Cop. It's also the introduction of Snoop Dogg. It's his very first appearance on Wax. So
and so that I mean that bass line alone, when you hear that boom, 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 and I mean you already know. I mean, how many freestyles after that on the instrumental?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning of I can feel it, and you knew it, and you was like, no, really, you immediately you was like, hey, bro, this is bumping. You know, some songs you hear them automatic immediately and be like, that's a hit.
What's
so, you know, it didn't have to grow on you,
right? And Dre, before we get into the whole that G-Funk era, a lot of that NWA music, Niggas for Life in particular, in 187 Deep Cover, music was very cinematic. And that's one thing that's missing about a lot of rap music today. It don't, you know, these are stories, and you have the music to match these stories. And Dre just came right on time. Now, originally, the theme song was supposed to be by Def Jeff, who's also in Deep Cover too. And Bill Duke heard Snoop and was like, Jeff,
we're gonna put you.
We're gonna roll with this. And I remember talking to Jeff about this. He's like, yeah, it's a smart move, but
no, it was
What was Def Jeff's record? Something about drums or something?
Dropping rhymes on drums, and Give It Here. And, I mean, that's my man, Black to the Future.
Whole different movie.
Oh, listen. Also, did the theme song or theme music for Living Single. So a lot of people don't know that. All right. So
shout out to Def Jeff.
Yes, sir.
It's all good.
But hey, classic neo-noir cop movie. Oh, also have to make mention, because I made I don't want to seem like I'm beating up on this man, but I made mention on the Dead Presidents about Dr. Todd Boyd. He needs to be on these behind the scenes or give adding commentary, because Elvis Mitchell, boy. When he gets on there, I don't know if does he even do criticism anymore, or he just like sits there and go with them dreads. And I ain't gonna get into that, but you know, I just wish Dr. Todd Boyd was a little. He's a little more street cat. He understands.
He's at USC, right? Or UCLA? Which one?
I think USC.
USC. So the clip here is from the AFI Conservatory.
Yeah.
And he was moderating the thing. Shout out to AFI, my alum.
Get Dr. Todd Boyd on there, and the two Michael Gillespie and the one sister.
Get Charles Woods on there. Get Mike D on there. Get Vashawn Quinones on there.
Get me on there. I love
Fullee Love on there.
Yeah, but hey, again, highly recommended. But
so they address the music in the thing, but they don't have the music video. So and they have Oliver Wang on there. So there was an attempt. So I give it a solid A. I mean, it's a must own. If you're a fan of 90s movies, you know, and if you've never seen it, if you're in a film noir, if you've never seen Deep Cover, it's just something you need in your life.
And I kind of feel like Antoine, I know you're probably watching. If not, you should be. I kind of feel like even Trinidad did some biting from Deep Cover. You know, use of lighting, hell, using Dr. Dre in your movie to, you know what I'm saying, even down to the red title credits. Deep Cover. Training Day used it. So
gotcha. And we're gonna get to what we think needs to be on Criterion in a minute. But
yeah, okay, I'll make it real quick.
Yeah.
I always got in part 2 of my collection, which should be in the Deep Cover universe, is Menace Society.
Okay.
If you took these two movies and put them together, you would have an LA version of The Wire. So yeah, wonderful. Let's look inside. Boom. Got the little booklet. Okay. Oh, we got to flex the Blu-rays, right? Hold on. Okay, so here we go. Blow. There we go.
Blow.
Beautiful. Blow. Like the way it looks.
Yep.
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah, the packaging on this is incredible. I mean, they've stepped it down after the first couple 4Ks.
Right.
but the die cut cover,
Yeah.
the paper, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And then let me give you my third one because I know we're pressed for time here.
This is your third one, right?
No, this is my second one. My third one is going to be. So we talked about Shaft Array. I'm going to say Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai.
Oh, you left out Menace?
No, so it's
No,
Deep
Menace
Cover,
was-
Menace,
Yeah.
and then now Ghost Dog.
Okay,
Forrest
so
Whitaker.
you got 4 in. Okay, got you.
I got 3 in. We talked about Shaft. We all kind of jumped on that one. I'm not
Okay,
going to
my
bring that
bad.
one. So
Okay,
these
all
are my
right.
3.
I can't count,
So-
folks. All right.
Yeah, so blah, these are my 3 right here.
Okay, so we're speeding it up. Okay,
Right.
got you.
Right.
All right. Well, the Menace disc, like I said, you can't get rid of your laser for one important reason. So they put this out on 4K. It's a beautiful transfer, classic film, Lisa Rinsler cinematography.
Right.
It's a great experience, but you can't get rid of the laser if you have it because it has the drive-by on it, which is
Right.
it's not the full original movie, but it's actually, if you want to go to the YouTube, it's on our channel.
Yeah, Reelblack
But,
channel.
but there's a few little extra features that didn't migrate over from the laser
Right.
to the 4K. So, but yeah, I strongly agree with that. This, and you can tell, that well, they have a relationship with New Line, Warner Brothers, so
Right.
so things are starting to drop from them. All right, all right, and
Ghost
those are your
Dog.
3.
Yep.
Ghost Dog.
My Ghost Dog. Yes.
No,
Forrest
I gotta
Whitaker
reshuffle-
as an assassin. How about that?
I gotta
with
reshuffle my
braids.
deck. I gotta figure this out. Hang on. I'll get rid of that one because it's not really
Okay.
a black film. Shit. You put me in a conundrum. I thought you.
Mhm.
All right.
Well, it might as well be. I mean, it's
Honorable
catered.
mention.
Okay.
Honorable mention is
Okay.
Do the Right Thing.
Yes.
This is, if you don't own this in any configuration
Right.
yet,
Something
then
wrong.
you want to get this on Criterion.
Just burn your black card up if you ain't home. Go and throw it in Sal's oven. Just go and burn it.
I mean, my copy's still sealed because I've seen it so many times and I already
Right.
have it on the other formats. But it has a great documentary by St. Clair Bourne called The Making of Do the Right Thing, about how Spike Lee engaged the community to help make the film, because he was shooting on location in the middle of Brooklyn, which was in 1989 was not necessarily the safest place on the planet to be making movies. So he brought people that lived in the neighborhood and gave them jobs on the movie. And a lot of the people that worked on Do the Right Thing, it was like their first job. They're still working in the industry. So this is a very important DVD to have, Blu-ray to have, 4K to have.
Shout out to Monty Ross. Quick plug.
See, mine is Blu-ray. How come? Why is yours 4K? I only have the Blu-ray.
It tells you on the back this 4K restoration.
Oh, the restoration's 4K,
Yeah,
but the disc isn't. It's a Blu-ray disc. Okay, so it's gonna come out again probably.
Right.
All right, so let me figure this out. I need 3. All right, I'm gonna go. You got yours in already?
Yeah,
I got mine in.
Okay. All right, the first one. Do I want to change? I'll throw this out just in case, just on a flex. This is not a Blu-ray, but I gave Sam Fuller. I gave Criterion a great deal of credit when they found this. This was a movie that was unreleased in the United States for over 30 years until it came out on DVD from Criterion 10 years ago. It's called White Dog. It's got Paul Winfield in it, and it's literally about a racist dog. It's about a stunt woman who accidentally hits a dog in the middle of the night. She takes it home and then finds out that it's been trained to hate white people. And the only person that can retrain its brain is a black man, Paul Winfield. And he literally gets in a cage and teaches it not to hate. It's really a deep ass movie. And hopefully it'll, maybe it didn't sell enough copies, but it should be on Blu-ray. It doesn't have that many extras on it, but it's pretty solid release. So if you can find it for say $15, I'd say go get it. But my top 3, you got to start from the beginning. Usman Semben's Black Girl. It's the first feature film directed by an African film director who is Usman Semben, who I had the pleasure of meeting. I didn't get him to sign this because he wasn't alive. He's been dead for years. So, but it's got a decent number of extras. I mean, it's a seminal piece of work, and I guess that's the theme that I'm carrying with my three selections. The other one, another filmmaker. All these are filmmakers who have passed on. The Signifying Works of Marlon Riggs. Not necessarily a fan of his later work, even though it's great. But this is a California newsreel collaboration, so it has all the films that before this came out on Blu-ray. It's got a nice book and everything. The only way you could watch this on online, there was a service. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but you'd have to go to California Newsreel, which was an educational distributor, and pay like $99 for like a VHS or $69 for a DVD. So they've made this quite affordable. They've collected all of Marlon Riggs' work. Marlon Riggs, for those who don't know, was a out gay filmmaker. He was a professor at a university in California, San Francisco, I believe, and he made basically what we're following in their footsteps. He basically made video essays originally about the depiction of blacks in popular culture. So the first movie he ever did was called Ethnic Notions, and it's narrated by Esther Roll, and it talks about the stigma that is placed on people, folks after by just racist memorabilia that exists, like cookie jars and Aunt Jemima pictures and things like that, and the impact that it has on our psyche today. The second film, why I really feel this is important, is one called Color Adjustment, which is a documentary also narrated by Esther Roll, which talks about the role of blacks in the history of television. Now, this was done in the late 80s, so there wasn't a lot of history for black folks to be talking about in television, but what's interesting about that film, it talks about the cycles and waves of representation that we were getting up until then, and what it does, it after it shows you Amos and Andy, it says, is this a negative image? And then after it shows you the Jeffersons and Good Times, it says, is this a negative image? And it asks the same questions, and ultimately, after watching it myself, it's not necessarily that one image is negative or positive. It's the lack of diverse images of ourselves that we don't get to see, and then we criticize the ones that we do get to see as being too far right or too far left of our own experience. So I strongly recommend that. And then his classics, the stuff that people love, is Black Is, Black Ain't, which is another question of black identity. And he passed away due to HIV. I think his last film was called Tongues Untied, and he literally made the film from his hospital bed. So sort of like the way Jay Dilla would make beats.
Right.
He would invite the camera in to film him on his deathbed to do his narration and talk. So it's a great film. It's great to see it's affordable now and available to most people. But the one that I have to recommend came out the same week that he passed away, the Melvin Van Peebles Essential Films, and they do a bang up job with it. It's got a booklet about him. For those who don't know, Melvin Van Peebles is the author that brought us Watermelon Man, Sweet Sweetback's Watermelon Man, Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, and this is paired with his son's film Badass, where 30 years later, Mario Van Peebles plays his father in a movie about the making of Sweet Sweetback. So that's also included in that. Then he also got his first feature film, Story of a 3-Day Path.
Great movie.
Really underrated film. And Don't Play Us Cheap, which is, it's a good film. It's a film version of his Broadway play. I mean, this is the only, to my knowledge, if he's not the only, he's definitely the first black playwright to have two plays playing simultaneously on Broadway at the same time. He had Don't Play Us Cheap and Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death were both on stage at the same time. So don't hate the player. Mel Van Peebles was the
Rest in
man.
peace. Yes,
Rest in
peace.
peace. And Criterion does a great job. Now, it could warrant a volume 2. I don't know who would do it, but he has a film called Belly Full, and then of course, if you're talking about what deserves to be on Criterion and what doesn't, Identity Crisis. He made some later ones that are not in the box, but he does. They also put his short films on here that he made before his features, and lots of archival footage and interviews with the man from different TV shows from the 70s, where he's talking about his position as an artist at the time, and it really gives you a really clear glimpse into what was happening and how he saw himself as a revolutionary force, and he was in so many ways. So, and I know there's some people that dislike Melvin Van Peebles, and I understand that, and I understand why. Some people say that he was a charlatan, that you can't really watch Sweetback and say that you're entertained. But for what the film represents, which was really the birth of new black cinema in 1970, I think it's an important box, and I really appreciate Criterion for putting it out the way that they did.
And didn't he also have a documentary, Classified X?
Now that he didn't direct it though,
Right.
So I can understand why they didn't include it. But yeah, Classified X.
Classified X. Yeah. Right, of course.
But yeah, Melvin. I'm kind of tearing up a little bit. Melvin was, I liked Melvin. He's a good guy, real good guy.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah. So, I don't know what else we have to say. Are there any honorable mentions that we didn't mention or thoughts? Oh, we got to talk about what we would love to see put on Criterion.
Devil in a Blue Dress. That's out too. Great movie.
Honorable mention. Okay.
Yes.
Me personally, I'm gonna just jump right in. And we already kind of spoke about it, but I would like to see it again because I don't have it on Blu-ray. It's hard to find, if at all. Dead President. I need to get that in my repertoire. I need to get that, and I don't have it. So that's the one I would say.
Since Criterion is going through New Line Cinema's catalog, I think A House Party 1. These are Criterion's special edition. I have a feeling too they might do one for Set It Off. That movie has become a cult classic, and it's very rare that you get 4 black women in a movie doing an action movie too. At that, I think it deserves a better Blu-ray than the director's cut version that we got a few years ago, because that has just a little bit, little behind the scenes stuff in a trailer, and that's it. And Ray J's video. I know, Mike, you want to see that, but
what's Ray J? One Wish?
No. Let It Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Bringing
up my favorite artist.
Yeah.
Trumps all the greats. I don't know about, I would like to see, since I'm the baby, you guys are the experts on this stuff, but since I'm the new Jack, I would like to see, and I don't know, but I would like to see Superfly. I would like to see,
dude,
Superfly done.
You read my mind.
Yeah, I would
read
really
my
like
mind.
to see that.
Yeah, and it could happen. It could happen.
I'm pretty happy with the Superfly reissues that have come out so far. I mean, I think there's a lot of extras on those.
Yeah, I think.
But you could go deeper. I mean, again, with the music and all that other stuff.
Right.
I mean, it deserves Criterion.
Yeah.
Hollywood Shuffle needs a Criterion.
Yes.
I would say She's Gotta Have It needs a Criterion.
Yeah, there is a She's Gotta Have a Criterion Laserdisc.
Oh no, we need a 4K because they got 4K on Netflix of She's Gotta Have It.
She's Gotta Have It. Okay, so
and I would also like to see, that's one more I had too. It's even though it's not made by a black director, but Brother from Another Planet, Criterion.
Okay, well I'll go. I can match those and add a couple more. Okay. So if they have a relationship with Warner Brothers, Wattstax would be great.
Definitely.
I'd like to see that. Yeah,
with a lot of extra features and 4K right now. the only way to catch it in high definition is through streaming.
No.
So it's long overdue for a restoration. I mean, it was restored 15 years ago. They brought it back out on 35, so it's been restored. The elements are restored. Music rights are probably an issue for it, but I'd love to see Wattstacks with the outtakes if they can find them.
Right.
Because, you know, if you listen to the album and you watch the movie, you know, there's a whole slew of performances that exist in the recording that were probably filmed that don't exist in the film. I would go, and as far as concert films go, Save the Children. While Stan Lathan is still with us, somebody needs to do something to get the story behind Save the Children. Clarence Avant and Stan Lathan are still with us.
Right.
I know that there's problems with the lack of releases for those films, but I think smart lawyers can get around those things. And Save the Children, for those who don't know, and Jesse Jackson's been ill, so I don't know if he would be available to do a commentary, but it was a fundraiser for Operation Push. It was part of the Black Expo. So even if there's outtakes for Save the Children of just showing the Black Expo in 1972, 1973, that would be amazing footage for the culture. Hearts and Dixie. I don't know if you guys know this. This is the very first sound film with African-American cast. Clarence Muse was in it, and Step and Fetch It. And I had a chance to see it at the Museum of Modern Art a few years back. And what's interesting about it is Step and Fetch It, it's the movie that made him a star. You know, it's the first sound film with an all-black cast. And he's not that offensive in it because you have him counterbalance with Clarence Muse, you know. So I know there might be some resistance to putting Step and Fetch It movies out on DVD the same way that people don't want to put out Song in the South. But I think Hearts and Dixie is definitely overdue for any kind of release and reevaluation. And then the Holy Grail for me, since Cooley High has been out already and is getting this treatment, the Uptown Saturday Night trilogy.
Right.
All three of those films, while you still have some of these people alive, maybe you can get them. They're all in their 80s, Bill Cosby and Harry Belafonte. So we just lost Mr. Poitier, but you know, for 10, 15 years, I've been screaming to anybody I could say, like, where is the Uptown Saturday Night trilogy on Blu-ray as a Criterion? Because that movie had such a strong influence. I believe that's one of the posters. Oh, not today. I usually have that poster behind me. But those would be my picks if Criterion's paying attention, you know, to our audition tape. And I know you want Tougher Than Leather.
No, that's Vinegar Syndrome. I wanted to do definitely because yes, Vinegar Syndrome. Holla, hey, I'm available. Hey, you're not gonna shame me on that with Truvy. I'm standing on my square on this one, family.
Okay, it deserves the
Ruddy Ray
syndrome treatment.
Ruddy Ray, shout out to Ruddy Ray, rest in peace. But no, Uptown Saturday Night, absolutely. Richard Wesley, you can still contact him. Who's a screenwriter of all three of them, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or just Uptown and
I think he did all three.
Okay, contact him.
Around.
Yeah.
Curtis Mayfield, Piece of the Action.
Yeah.
And Let's Do It Again. So
yeah, I just watched a little bit of Pieces of the Action not too long ago.
Yes, it's the comic book version of the first two.
But... I watched one part because there was a young lady in there that, you know, kind of did the robot, and I was like, "Ooh, man, she's a cutie pie." So I keep, you know, just going, keep going back to that say like
till the 70s, love, man.
Yeah, man, yo.
Like if it was 77, girl, I holler at you.
Well, shout out to racism. Because if not for racism, we would not have any of these movies that we talked about on Criterion. They would have continued to stay lily white, you know. So shout out to the New York Times and all those people. Oh, and I should say, you know, if we're working on something, you know, maybe in 5 or 10 years, an Ava DuVernay box set. She's doing really important work, and I think especially her early film Middle of Nowhere needs to be on Blu-ray. So
Shout out to
it was
Ava.
lots of
Yeah.
extras.
I knew Ava when she was in. We was at Good Life in L.A. rapping.
Okay.
All of us. Yeah, figures of speech. Yeah, I would. You know, you don't know what
Figures
role
of
folks
speech
gonna
also
take.
on the channel.
Yeah.
Also
So,
on the channel.
shout out
Figures
to
of
Ava.
speech.
Yeah.
Yes, big shout out to Ava. Love Ava. So yeah, and I'm sure it's in the works because she was quoted in that article. So when the time comes, I know it's Ava's call probably to get some Criterion Collection Ava DuVernay work.
Oh, before I forget, stop bullshitting. Put out One False Move, please.
Yeah,
You gotta put
that
it
would
out.
be lovely. Yeah,
One
Frankie.
False Move. Yes, that movie definitely needs
that would be
special
lovely.
treatment. Yes.
Well, I'm around if you want to interview Cinda Williams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll be there. Criterion.
No, Mike.
Billy Bob can be
Mike, you
second
can hold the
unit.
camera. Me and Fullee will do the interviewing.
Yeah. All I'm gonna talk about is the jungle fever
Clark,
scenes.
yeah, Clark, Mo better.
Right. I would be like, so that scene when
yeah, when you a shadow getting the bird.
my sick self, yeah.
Well, shout out to white supremacy, but
no, I can't shout that out.
but-
I hear you.
well, you know,
But yeah, I got you.
they got the keys to the car right now, you know, so
Right.
we got to come hat in hand. These are suggestions, and they're coming from really smart people who will continue to support the Criterion Collection. I like you said, it's like the strip club for me, scooping up DVDs.
Well,
And I know there's still a lot of people that want to buy them and own them. So
Right.
I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it's music rights, maybe it's timing. But I think the only A out of our picks, in my opinion, well, Do the Right Thing is an A plus. A plus.
Right.
Do the Right Thing. You did Criterion, you did a stellar job with Spike, and I wouldn't care. You could put all of Spike's movies out the same way that you did Ingmar Bergman, the same way that you did Agnes Varda. I hope to God that one day you put all of Spike's movies out in a big volume like that, because that would take up my shelf. I would never even open it. It would just be like a statue for me if Criterion put the collected works of Spike Lee, including Joe's Bed-Stuy Barbershop, please.
Yeah. Oh, before we begin, shout out to Monty Ross.
Yes.
Good guy, man. He blessed us with an interview. You can check it out on Anchor.
Yeah, Monty Ross is still around. I mean, that's a winner right there. If you put Joe the same way did Shanna's Missing, if you put the earliest student films of Spike Lee out, I would buy that, and I would buy 5 copies of that just to support. So we were talking about The Answer, his short film from NYU, and
She's got
Joe's Bedside Barbershop. There's about 3 movies that actually they found the negatives for. They were about to throw them in the trash, and they found the negatives for all of Spike Lee's student films at the Duart labs. So, that's something that it needs to be done. It's part of our history. It's part of our culture. And Spike's still with us. Monty's still with us.
Ernest is still with us.
Ernest is still with us.
Warren Thomas is still with us.
And if it's about music rights, forget about it. You can, it's more important to the culture that work gets preserved. So that's all I can think of, man. And CB4.
Absolutely. Why not?
With all the outtakes.
Yeah,
I want to see the deleted scenes. But something, they lost the tracks in the fire at the Universal fire. The CB4 soundtrack. Original tapes got lost in that. So
and I'm glad I own the CD. I'm glad I own
the CD is important, but I'm talking about like all the outtakes and different things.
Okay, got you.
Sweat on my balls. The mistake of I'm blackety black and all that stuff got lost in the fire. So
wow, damn.
I'm blacker than black. I'm blackety black. But that could be a Vinegar Syndrome.
Well, Ken and Laura did a good job. They put it out.
They do a good job
with the transfer. But were there any extras?
Yes, Nelson George, audio commentary. There's Tamara Davis on it. Trailers. They did a good job with it.
Kino Lorber's, they're friends of ours, so
Yeah.
But the reason we spent an hour and 15 minutes talking about Criterion is because we want the hookup. We're tired of spending money on these DVDs. We gave you a full 90-minute ad.
Okay.
So please put us on your mailing list.
New Line Cinema, Criterion. The Mac needs to be put on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I take that for sure. Right.
Yeah, they just the extras on the Mac DVD were pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just missed out. We just lost 2 people from the Mac.
Yeah.
So also
main people.
And also too, just one more critique. Some of the audio commentaries, instead of bringing back ones from 2001 onto like the 2022, update the commentary too. You know,
it comes off as lazy.
Yeah. We like to hear a new perspective on the film, 30 years later, which your thoughts on it now. So, step your audio game up, Criterion. Come on.
Okay, so to recap, can we get ours ready again? Like we did like Siskel and Ebert. Oh, this is
holding them up like cards.
Trading cards. So this is also worth getting. When We Were Kings. It has they did a great job with that. Okay, but yeah, put us on the mailing list. We just gave you 93 minutes of advertising.
Yeah.
All right, so to wrap up, my picks once again: Melvin Van Peebles box set, Marlon Riggs. Let me hold it up properly, show it the proper respect. Do the Right Thing was my honorable mention.
Okay.
And I lost track of Black Girl, which I probably tossed it. Black Girl, Usman Semben.
Okay. All right. Deep Cover, Bill Duke, Alan and Albert Hughes, Minute Society, Jim Jarmusch, Ghost Dog. Honorable mention, Devil in Blue Dress, Carl Franklin.
Solid.
Mine, Shaft, no doubt. Yeah, I'm doing it the hood. Learning Tree, my man Gordon Parks. Claudine, James L. Jones, Diane Carroll. Shout out my girl Tamu. I always love that name. Yeah, I'm not nothing, mama. Yeah, that was I don't know nothing. I ain't gonna be nothing. That was powerful. But yeah, so thanks for having us, Mike. Man,
absolutely. Oh, and what do you guys think? Just on the humble, newer films from the last 5 years, because Criterion also does that. They don't always have to be old classics; they can be instant classics. I mean, Get Out would be, or Django. Those would be my picks. So recent classics that deserve the Criterion.
I'll take those. Yeah, I'll take those without question.
Black movies.
Come on, 4K Django. Come on.
4K Django will be cool. I'm gonna have to say probably The Five Bloods for me. Take it off Netflix and put it on 4K.
Deserves that. If they did One Night in Miami, they can certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't like One Night.
Yeah, I didn't.
Actually, there's only 2 that I don't own. Now, from Criterion.
Now,
go ahead. Let me get mine, and then you.
Sure, go ahead.
Mine, The Harder They Fall. Give me The Harder They Fall.
Yes,
give me
that. Was classic. Yeah, Netflix needs to get off it, and start putting some of their more of their films onto collector platform.
Right. I even said Public Enemy's videos anthology on Criterion.
Well, imagine that. Pitch that one to me. How all right, Public Enemy, the group Public Enemy, right?
Yes.
To be clear, Chuck D and them.
Yeah, to do it like Beastie Boys anthology, music video anthology. Put their concert film on there on one disc, Fight the Power, and then second disc would be just the whole Public Enemy anthology video.
Up until what point? Until they leave Def Jam or what?
I would say yes, because those are probably the most important.
So up to
videos. So
up until he got game, basically.
Correct.
Okay, I can see that.
I mean, think about it. Mark Pellington, Lionel C. Martin, Eric Meza, all these guys went on to make feature films. All started with Brett Ratner. I mean,
shut him down.
Yeah. Great videos, storylines, everything. When you look at
some of them, I mean, 911 is a joke. Night of Living Baseheads. Those
Charles. What's my man who did Paid in Full did 911 was a joke.
Yeah,
Night of the
Charles
Living
Stone.
Baseheads is, yep, Charles Stone, the third, by Atomic to Arizona. I mean, all those videos are classics. I do believe that that's one aspect of Public Enemy people have a tendency to overlook. You know,
okay.
Chuck D's voice, the production, Flav, but the videos are just as classic and controversial. So, you know, Buck Wildin, throw that on there, man.
And
Classic.
there's at least
Can't
2
trust it.
documentaries about Public Enemy. Plus, all those guys are still
Right.
around. You could still do retrospective
Mhm.
audio commentaries
Right.
during the music videos to talk about the making of the video or what the importance of was at the time. I think that's on point because there's so many people that weren't born when that music came out, you know,
Right.
and that music was informed by so much of the culture from the previous generation that it could be a very powerful thing. You know, I would just put in a black box the same way Prince put out the Black Album.
Right.
I'd let motherfuckers guess what's in this thing, and they put it in the player and it's Public Enemy videos. That's how I would do it.
Hey, Criterion, holla, come on.